Behind me you can see the Finnieston Crane, the last vestige of Glasgow's shipbuilding industry, and it is the venue for COP26 this year. It's perfectly symbolic because Glasgow's shipyards closed in a manner which was very unjust. Tens of thousands of workers lost their jobs, and it brought deindustrialized destruction to the city that it has still not entirely recovered from. Today at COP26, trade unions are putting just transition on the agenda.
Good morning. We are just reporting from COP26. We attended an event organized by the ILO working group discussing the implementation of the ILO guidelines and how it's actually at the moment working in the different countries. I took the floor to particularly make aware about the situation in the EU with the Just Transition Fund, which is quite limited in scope, benefiting especially coal regions but also carbon intensive regions, but not systematically addressing all regions and all sectors across the EU.
We are organizing jointly an event with ITUC in order to talk about the just transition for industrial workers. What are their main challenges and their demands?
There's no doubt that you have done a fantastic job, because just transition is on everybody's lips, at least at this global level. We've still got real work to make it meaningful though, on the ground for workers. And even at the global level, with governments and companies, we need to be very clear about what our demands are. And it's very hard, of course, for workers. It's about jobs. It's about jobs, jobs and jobs. We want governments to have jobs plans everywhere, but we want companies to have jobs plans, and we want them to be negotiated at all levels with, of course, unions.
And in a very practical way, that means that steel workers in South Wales are fighting for the tech they need and the investment they need to turn that steel green. We've got automotive workers all over the country who literally, including my dad, many decades ago, were arguing back then for an alternative workers' plan to produce electric vehicles. Weren't listened to right back then? Okay, they're listening now. We've got Rolls-Royce Aerospace. We're visiting them tomorrow to hear from those workers, Unite and GMB, about the plans that they've been pushing with their employers.
Exactly, as you have said, industrial represents workers in the energy, mining and manufacturing sectors, and those workers are the ones who are in the main line, in the front line for that, and they are suffering all this the impact of this energy transition. Our workers, of course, are worried about the climate change and the energy transition, but they are also worried about what is going to happen with their jobs, what is going to happen with their families. Are they going to be able to feed them or not, to give them proper quality of life? And we cannot, you already mentioned, we cannot tell them, yeah, you are going to transition to something without promising an optimistic future. We need to tell them what is going to be their future. And for that we need information. We need to know where those new jobs are going to be, in which sectors, in which countries. Because
to an outsider looking at this event, it can look quite exclusive. It's difficult to gain access. There's fences and police all around it, and I can understand any worker who feels cynical when they hear promises of just transition. And that is why the trade unions are here today, to try to make the really strong case that we need to build a future that works for everyone, and you need to include people in the process of building that future. We need to be the architects of the future that we create.